Made the Canal Korea and defeats help make America a world power. You're watching an American woman. I work on I worked at Vogue magazine and now I work at Newsmax. Couldn't be happier. All about bringing the most important stories in the world to help. In the case against James Comey, the former FBI director, and U.S. Attorney Lindsey Howard said already the jury never reviewed the indictment if he ended up against the former FBI director. The DOJ is saying that instead of presenting a new indictment to the grand jury after declined to include one of the court, Howard simply brought altered versions to the package to courtroom for the grand jury's focus of the trial. What does all this mean? Really, what does it mean to the former FBI director? Our senior Dojo panelist. Good morning, Sean. It probably means that the case against them will be dismissed because there was probably no valid, standing, lawful indictment in existence because of these theories by so when Lindsay Howard and fairness, she never got back before. This is the first one she ever got from me. Finished on the first one or really last year. She went to the back and saw I get last year the former director of the FBI. However, there's a lot of people in our office that could have guided her as to what to do. When she signed the indictment itself, she was still finding the real valid indictment voted on by the grand jury. Not when the fourth person signed the indictment, saying that the valid signing the vote, the valid indictment voted by the grand jury. Not did the grand jury vote on the indictment? No, they didn't. Did she accurately state the law when she asked the grand jury to vote on a previous indictment? According to the judge, she did not. We don't know what the misstatement was. The transcript of what she misstated was redacted as part of the statement. And the case law is very clear that has to be viewed and voted on by the grand jury, and both must be correct. Now, her argument is that we haven't done the grand jury rejected one defense but accepted the other two. So she just crafted a new indictment without the one that they rejected, and assuming that since they already voted on the other two, those were the two they wanted, with which they wanted to charge Mr. Comey. It doesn't work that way, but I attribute this to her lack of experience. So there's a very serious, the case is a great example. She wasn't out there with the experience. Let me get to something that was Lindsay Howard's testimony indicating, quote, this is totally the very same part. The majority don't get in a nutshell against the part. Is that ultimately what it's all about? I think the experts the judge might think that and the legal so each side, the government, take this case home and analyze it for me and give me your analysis of today, which was yesterday. Those documents have been filed. Now, this did not come up in the context of there is no indictment. It came up in another context, which was Comey's motion to dismiss the indictment on the grounds of vindictive prosecution, that he was being prosecuted because the president hates him. And they submitted 60 pages of the president's negative comments, which were all familiar.
future 10-time World Wrestling Champion entered the world of wrestling as a third-generation wrestler, something of which he was very proud. As legendary as his wrestling career was, it was his film debut as the Scorpion King that would send The Rock into the stratosphere. His first film, The Mummy Returns, broke box office records by earning more than $28 million in one day. To date, The Rock's films have a combined worldwide revenue in excess of $10 billion, making him one of the world's highest-grossing and highest-paid actors. On August 18, 2019, Dwayne Johnson married Lauren Hashia. Dwayne Johnson has proven to be as generous with his time as with his talent, making numerous personal appearances in support of numerous charities. Well liked by his fellow actors not only for the talent The Rock brings to his roles, but also the humor. You're watching An American Life on Newsmax TV.
Help our viewers get more than the headlines, beyond the fit, the perspective you'll only see on Newsmax. Abraham Lincoln began the war between the states with a single stated purpose: to preserve the Union. So it surprised everyone when in July 1862, President Lincoln announced his intentions to issue an Emancipation Proclamation to free the Southern slaves. Lincoln was urged to delay his proclamation until the Union Army could boast a battlefield victory. That opportunity came at the Battle of Antietam. The Union forces drove Lee's army out of Maryland. 5 days later, on September 22nd, 1862, President Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, stating slaves in those areas still in rebellion within 100 days will be free. This action made slavery the focus of the war and ultimately caused France and England to withdraw their support of the South. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.
All right, happening right now, a live look this inside Washington National Cathedral. As you hear the music play on, a live look inside this for the funeral service of the late Vice President Dick Cheney, who passed away on November 3rd, the complications with pneumonia and vascular disease and others. What we're seeing here is obviously several recognizable faces, including two former presidents, President Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, Bush 43, and former First Lady Laura Bush as well. Other notables there, Vice President Pence, you see him there as well. We call the majority leader, as well as Mitch McConnell, excuse me. Also, former Speaker John Boehner as well. So many others here. Dan Quayle, we've seen Kamala Harris, the Vice President there. Senator Schiff, and Jamie Raskin as well, and so many others. Who's out there? That would be President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, not out of choice. It's been widely reported that they were not invited to the funeral services for the late Vice President Dick Cheney. This begins at 11 a.m. Bush 43 is set to speak during this around 11:30. Will be taken back as well. So they begin to take their seats in this time, and then Dick Cheney's funeral service begins. Stay with National Reporter Newsmax for the very latest schedule. Inside, President Trump, speaking of, is set to meet with New York City Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani tomorrow. Mamdani has so far been an outspoken critic of the president. Well, Trump's saying this about the upcoming visit to the mayor. Communist Mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani, has asked for a meeting. We have agreed that this meeting will take place at the Oval Office on Friday, November 21st. Further details to follow. Oh boy, you're playing the wall there. Malik Abdul joining us in the Man of Mackie Vote, Republican strategist. Thank you very much for being on. We appreciate that, Amanda. I'd like to start with you. This should be a very interesting meeting, to say the very least. I mean, if President Trump is the poster child for capitalism, Your thoughts on what this will be about, what would be said, he said publicly on social media, face to face. Interesting time.
Yes, it is. Fascinating that this meeting is happening as quickly as it is. Obviously, Kwame Mamdani has not been sworn in yet. That won't happen until January. So they set this up rather quickly. I think it just speaks to the level of interest that President Trump has taken in this race. Obviously, President Trump has a big stake given that his business is based out of New York City. Now, of course, he divested himself from that. He's not running it. But still, it's a very important city for him. And something that I think that will be discussed will be what Zoran Mamdani does with Leos, law enforcement officers in New York Police Department, NYPD. Because I know that the police department is worried about what a Zoran Mamdani administration could do to the police force. And so I think that's something that's very important and very important.
Fully, spokesperson saying this about the meeting, quote, as is customary for an income federal administration, the mayor-elect plans to meet with the president in Washington to discuss public safety, economic security, and the affordability agenda that over 1 million New Yorkers voted for just 2 weeks ago. What do you make of that statement?
To be honest, I think it's a reasonable statement to make. I think a lot of people have been making a big deal out of the New York mayor. Now, I would just say I think maybe as we live in New York City, from my perspective, there's always been this type of issue when it comes to New York's mayor. I remember the conversation around de Blasio. Many people were talking about what happens with the direction of New York City under de Blasio. Of course, we got Adams, and now we have Mamdani. This really isn't surprising to me, but I'm glad that Trump is leaving. And I just want people to know, every time there is an issue where people say, oh no, this person that doesn't like Donald Trump or, Trump doesn't like, they're meeting with Donald Trump, they end up walking out of the meeting. Well, I won't say he probably didn't like Donald Trump more. But it ends up being a very good meeting. So I don't think it's going to be what we saw probably maybe with Zelensky. I don't think we'll have that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, he may wear a suit. Let me move on to this point. Late night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel mocking President Trump's handling of the Epstein files. We cut this for you. Here's that. We are following the path of Hurricane Epstein right now. It is a Category 5. It's expected to make landfall sometime very soon. We are now one step closer to answering the question, what did the president know and how old were these women when he knew it? And President Trump blasting talk show host calling for him to be taken off the air on Truth Social. This is what he posted. Why does ABC fake news keep Jimmy Kimmel and make there's no time to go for television ratings on the air? Why does the TV thing get put up with also totally biased coverage getting bomb off the air? Amanda, to the point, I want to listen to
It looks like some software.
because what he said was
Okay,
but it
cool.
wasn't. We finally
Just
find out
could be one more developer. They make it two something.
if there was something with the president, wouldn't we have seen it by now?
Absolutely. I mean, we had a
Be careful about
certainly they
the
would
bad
have
things.
diverged this information to the American public. They did everything that they could to protect Hunter Biden in the 2020 election. And so if there was something that was adverse to President Trump, I can assure you that it would have been released. I think the bottom line here is what President Trump said when he goes after journalists and just says, you're biased. You're not even able to present a question in a non-legal way. And so this is basically what Jimmy Kimmel is doing. He's just building his performance on going after Trump. And that's President Trump's point. What is the point of being a service, a news wire service, a company that can't actually be impartial? And I think we got to take a page out of Jay Leno's book. Jay Leno equally went after everyone, and he was funny. That's not what Jimmy Kimmel does. He only attacks President Trump, and it's getting old. And President Trump has every reason and every right to go after him.
That's not like so much good stuff. I think that Bill, thank you so much for joining us today.
check who's behind the wheel. We've seen it before. There is all the religious ideologies of the 20th century. By sacrificing human life to serve their radical visions, abandoning every value except the will to power, they follow in the path of fascism, Nazism, and they will follow it all the way to the end. A victory is not promised. We will direct every resource, every means of diplomacy, every tool of devotion, every instrument of law enforcement, every side of solutions, to the destruction and to the defeat of the global terror network. To advance the human freedom, the great achievement of our time and great hope of every time. Now it depends on us. Generation is generation. We will rally the world to this cause by our efforts.
Who's talking me?
George Bush.
We will not falter, and we will not fail. Congress passes no sweeping civil rights bill ever to be written into law, and thus reaffirms the conception of equality for all men that began with Lincoln and the Civil War 100 years ago.
It was less than a year after the
Oh,
assassination of
yeah.
President John F. Kennedy when his dream of a comprehensive civil
Ay,
rights bill
ay,
became
ay,
a
wow.
In the 1960s,
Ay,
segregation
di
was
ha?
slowly dismantled.
Dirty.
Voting rights were advanced in many states, especially in the South. All Americans the right to vote and be employed and/or served in public facilities. But his efforts were stymied by many Senate Democrats. But for the assassination of President Kennedy, things fell. President Lyndon Baines Johnson, seeking to continue JFK.
relief for students who lost scholarships or housing as support for addicts. Newsmax correspondent Christina Zopp, live in the newsroom. She has the details. Christina, good morning.
Sean, good morning. Well, the money it was freely handed out to students who got in trouble with the law for leading anti-Israel protests both before and after the horrific October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. Now, this was reported in a bombshell report by the Network Contagion Research Institute and the Intelligent Advocacy Network. That's according to the report. Now, the cash was awarded from a Champions of Justice Fund. It was set up by the California chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CARE, as institutional endorsement. California hosts the largest arm of the care web of nonprofits. Chapters in the state were able to raise, get this, more than $100,000 in donations from campus radicals, while the main group solicited $64,000 in donations, that's according to the reports. Meanwhile, Governor Greg Abbott of Texas declared CARE a terrorist organization to prevent the Muslim group from getting any land in the Northwest state and setting up roots there. Governor Abbott said that the group also had direct ties to Hamas.
So we're focused today on ensuring that no religious group, whether it be Islam or any other group, is going to be used for religious segregation. What happened here was a development that created religious segregation without hostility to any other religion, and that's untested.
CARE denies these claims and is threatening a lawsuit against Governor Abbott, but he is not budging. This actually breaking in just the past few minutes. Governor Abbott is directing DPS to launch a criminal investigation now into both the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE. Governor Abbott says his goal in this is to identify and eradicate these terrorist organizations that have been engaged in criminal activities in Texas. Sean.
All right, guys, we started following that story yesterday.
Can't not join us live with that. Thank you.
On your screen, including people with the president, and President Biden. George W. Bush said the liberal laws within this service, we will bring you alive.
I call upon the scientific community in our country, those who gave us nuclear weapons, to turn their grief now to the cause of mankind at work.
On March 23rd, 1983, President Reagan prized not only the nation, but members of his own cabinet that the United States would embark on creating an anti-missile system to stop and destroy nuclear missiles in space. Reagan called the program the Strategic Defense Initiative, or SDI. Undermining the Soviet Union's deterrence program. By 1997, he was at mission station and unable to match the U.S. program. Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev capitulated. Within 4 years, good news. Just went on the New York Stock Exchange and listed on the big board. Millions of Americans like you are joining our news revolution. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top 10 news brands in America. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax all the time. And its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your local advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America.
I'm Katrina Britt, and this is your Israel Update. Israeli technology has completely transformed the U.S.-built F-35 fighter jet. Israel said it was praised while still keeping its top miles away. All right, now let's go to Israel correspondent Jody Cohen, who has this report. This is South Tel Aviv, where the energy is high and the waves are even bigger.
So this is the biggest surfboard on the sky in the world.
The energy is so good inside the water, outside the water. Everything is perfect here. So this place is amazing. In Israel, you don't really get any good rates, and it's really amazing. Good vibes, good teachers. It's really great.
The energy here is so great. Everybody here have a very unique and good vibe, and they really like the place. Everyone with a very uniqueness. Every time I come here, I feel like peace in myself. It's like it's the most funniest place in Israel. The feeling when you get your wave here, This is like Israel all year long. So it's like the perfect attraction to tourists.
Jody Cohen, thank you very much for an excellent report. I'm Katrina Zink, and that is your update brought to you by Dojo.
We are expecting to hear from several people, including former President George W. Bush, former Vice President. His daughter, former Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney, also delivered remarks in honor of his father. Some of Cheney's grandchildren speaking as well. The number of attending President Biden right here in former First Lady Laura Bush, as well as so many other notable figures. We'll get back in there in just a bit. Thanks for tuning in to the National Report here for you heard out. I'm Sean Kreisman. In addition to President Bush, former President Biden also attending the service, former Vice President Kamala Harris. You see Vice President Mike Pence on the right-hand side, also out in the two notable figures.
I don't want to hear my pants anymore.
Vice President Pence. Multiple others, including Axios, are reporting neither of them were extended an invitation. Vice President Pence reportedly not invited. A lot of questions I've been getting too about is Bill Clinton, former President Bill Clinton, attending. He is not. The report is that he is experiencing a scheduling conflict and not in attendance. Again, the Newsmax confirming now officially that President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance were not invited to the late Vice President's funeral service, which is getting underway here at the Washington National Cathedral. We're learning more of this with Tom Vasili, who's the host of America Right Now, and a former Bush administration official who also worked for his 2000 presidential campaign. Tom, good morning to you. Quite the scene when we look inside the Washington National Cathedral, the who's who, if you will, of politicians, and talking about today's Thursday and remembering the life legacy that continues behind. Yeah, it is. It's a sad moment for those of us who spent time with the former vice president during those days in the Bush administration. We have to remember this is a man who dropped out of Yale to dug ditches in Wyoming. He strung electrical wire and ultimately became the youngest ally of Ronald Reagan during the Cold War.
Number what? Number ranking.
Was not the kind of person who always looked to be the center of attention, but he was somebody who, when he spoke, he commanded a great deal of respect from those people who know him. I think today, Sean, I think you're going to see some humor here. It would be. I think that would be something that we would do from the because the vice president had a very dry sense of a dry wit, a dry sense of humor. And I think a lot of respect from people, the 1,000 people who are connected to it. Yeah, and quite the accomplishment at the age of 34, becoming the White House chief of staff at that young age.
So many.
President Gerald Ford, serving in Congress with several different terms, representing the great people of Wyoming as well, and moving on, Secretary of Defense, getting right back, serving with the National Society of Extreme Bush 43. If I can, about for the sitting president of the United States and the sitting vice president, that can't be ignored. Can you talk a little bit to that? Maybe
no, I cannot talk about it.
Yeah.
plate.
Yeah.
This may of the conservatives and the Republicans. He was very critical of the sitting president. President Trump, of course, respected protocols of lowering flags in the country, and he passed that when the vice president passed away. But it's not a surprise that the end of the day was changing sort of the matriarch of this family at this point, and she was a very, very sharp critic of the current president. Not something that I would do. I would invite all the presidents, but again, this is a very sharp feud, as the feud that continues with the Bush family. And these two very different eras in American politics sort of on display here today at this funeral. But I do think that it is important to look back, look beyond that, to I think what we learned from Dick Cheney, particularly in our era of digital, sort of our digital politics and our discussion where it's the people who scream the loudest who seem to get the most attention. Dick Cheney never wanted to be the center of attention, and he wanted to focus on service and leadership.
Yeah, Tom, Vasily, we got to wrap it there as we watch for the ceremony or rather funeral procession to get underway. For the late Vice President Dick Cheney. Tom, thank you so
I don't know where to go.
On the Middle East and North Africa, while that matter is ongoing. Now, she is not alone. Democratic
She is not
Congresswoman,
alone.
as well as Monica
She is not alone. She is not alone.
53-year prison sentence.
That's unbelievable. And then mentioning that there may be other names as well, which we will continue to follow very closely. So many new cards. Thank you. Bring it back to Adrian Rafferty. Thanks, Adrian, joining us on set. Rebecca Rose Woodley and Steve New, travel attorney and litigator. Thank you both for being back with us here. And Rebecca, I'll start with you on this. I mean, the allegations are serious, and it's until
She
proven
is not alone, 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 alone. She is not alone, alone. She is not. She is not alone. She is not alone. She is not Congratulations, 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 you were number one, congratulations. People try to be contact,
Speaking of Florida,
be
seeing exactly what that's needed, and that being played out in that area. And we speak to that as well as the discussion that happens in Congress, right? The low approval rating for Congress, this type of allegation and indictment plays into that. Yeah, I mean, this is about as sacrilegious as you can get.
Oh, so much.
Vaccines and the like, not necessarily.
No to
but the distinction isn't really a difference here. And now you're seeing this kind of pattern and unfortunately, we have more and more examples
so many way to
over this. We've seen the likes of George Santos. He was expelled from Congress. He was only under indictment. He hadn't been convicted yet. And so now you're seeing this idea amongst members of the House gone by, especially, to whether or not raise the threshold percentage, maybe 50% of the House rather than the simple majority. It just seems like House members are sure. And we saw that happen last night here. But after this kind of really serious from the allegations in this indictment, she's going to have to answer for it. It's so interesting. I mean, she got fined numerous times. She finally got it in 2021. And now allegations of misusing taxpayer money that members of Congress are elected to appropriate, to dole out. And so it's interesting to see how this plays out, of course. So unfortunate that finding himself handed that $5 million FIFA funds he's personally used for campaigning. Taking out in Santa Monica, California, courtesy of
Master, channel you there.
Earlier this year, state is facing an $18 billion budget shortfall for next year. That's according to a new projection from the state's legislative panel. The estimate is about $5 billion larger than what California Governor Gavin Newsom initially expected, and that the legislative panel's office is attributing this to government spending. We're expecting to learn more information on this very topic today. There's going to be a news conference there, and that's why we take it a correspondent has a minor San Diego. A preview of what we may hear from state officials today. We see a lot of Governor Gavin Newsom out there. This one maybe not in front of.
Yeah, Sean, this is interesting because as you mentioned, the numbers are pretty jaw-dropping here. The projected state budget shortfall for the next fiscal year, nearly $18 billion. As you said, $5 billion more. It was originally projected just in June of this year. This will be the fourth state budget in a row with a severe deficit. Now, already the Democrats are blaming President Trump for this, but the Republicans are saying, hold on a second. They're pointing the finger at Governor Gavin Newsom and saying, a lot of this is due to free health care for illegal immigrants. So yet this news comes to us from the Legislative Analyst Office, their annual report. And that report was interesting, essentially claiming that two things can be true at the same time. California's income tax revenue is strong, they say, growing at double-digit rates thanks to the AI boom. And the government spending in the state is so high that next year's budget deficit could be as much as $18 billion, then jump to $35 billion by the following fiscal year. Assembly Budget Committee Chair Jesse Gabriel blames the president, saying in a statement to multiple media outlets, quote, while the Trump administration continues to pursue destructive policies that harm California families, the Assembly Budget Committee remains committed to crafting a responsible
responsible budget that prioritizes essential services. Well, the LAO report blames spending on two California propositions, 98 and 2, which mandate spending for education and reserve funds. The California Republican leaders claim the out-of-control spending is due to free health care for illegal immigrants. They say the cost of it is expected to balloon to more than $13 billion next year. Plus, the federal government has warned California that if it doesn't crack down on free health care for illegals, and if it doesn't get the food stamp fraud, the SNAP fraud rate down to 5%, the state will face financial consequences.
California's current fraud and error rate is at 13%. And we won't do anything to just bring us back down to the standards. We will not cut illegal immigrant health care. So we are losing Medi-Cal funding and the reimbursement side because the state of California would rather sue the federal government than work with them and come to compliance with the law.
Sean, I did reach out to Governor Gavin Newsom's office to get his response to all of this. It's still early here in California, haven't heard back yet. However, his first draft of the budget is due in January. Reporting live in San Diego, I'm Heather London. Tell us back to the studio.
Heather, thank you so much. Good to see you. All right, we are awaiting remarks from former President George W. Bush in honor of former Vice President Dick Cheney. His funeral taking place here at the Washington National Cathedral inside. We'll let the music play.
Information, truth, his power is freedom. His money is his Newsmax. Millions watch it, so can you. Newsmax is real news for real people. When Rosa Parks stepped on that Montgomery, Alabama bus on December 1st, 1955, she didn't set out to make history. She just wanted to get home. Although segregated buses had divided seating, white passengers in front, colored passengers in back. When the bus driver needed more seats for his white passengers, he ordered her and 3 others to vacate places. The others complied and moved. But Rosa quietly refused and was quickly arrested. Walking along the path after Martin Luther King, Rosa
That's an old time home.
You're watching an American woman.
Dang, 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 dang. Dang, 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 dang. Dang, 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 dang. Dang, 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 dang.
Macau 3D.
Commercial.
Fit in a small scale.
Good like the special.
Alexa, stop.